Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Eric Nash. I'm the Director of Online Marketing here at Stamps.com. Today's topic is 101 tips to boost holiday sales, and we'll be discussing some e-commerce best practices to help you grow revenue during the holiday period. We're really excited to have Matt Wynn from our partner Volusion to present for us today. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Volusion, Volusion is a shopping cart program, and it allows you to easily upload products and create a professional online store. And that comes complete with a checkout process as well as payment processing. Pricing starts at $19 a month and includes a ton of different features, such as free site templates. Your customers can do ratings and reviews on your site, and along with social media tools and many, many other features. So if you don't have a store online yet, or you're thinking about updating your site and your store, definitely give Volusion a check and see if it fits for you. Let me give you some background on our presenter today. Matt Wynn is a social media manager at Volusion. He's written hundreds of articles on all things e-commerce, ranging from social media to web design to getting more site traffic to your site. Every Tuesday, Matt hosts 2-Minute Tuesdays on Volusion's YouTube channel. I highly recommend you all take a look at it. It's a great short way of getting some good information. And it's always about e-commerce advice and ways to help grow your site and optimize your store. So check it out if you have a chance. Before I hand the controls over to Matt, I want to quickly cover some quick housekeeping items. If you're having any type of audio problems and you're using your computer, we suggest you try using the call-in phone number that came in your invite email. And if you're having audio problems on your phone, just try hanging up and maybe trying to call back in again. Sometimes the GoToWebinar system gets a little slammed with a lot of people. Also, this webinar is being recorded. So, and a link to this recording will be sent out in the follow-up email that will go out tomorrow. So, if anybody misses anything, you can come back and take a look at it in the recording. We'll also be posting the webinar on our Stamps.com YouTube page as well. Lastly, if at the end of the presentation, we're going to have a short 10 to 15 minute period for Q&A. If you have any questions, please type them in the question box on your right side. And you don't need to wait until we get to the question period. If you see something in Matt's presentation early on, feel free to type in a question. That's always helpful because we often get a lot of questions that come in at the very last second. It makes it a little bit hard to manage all the questions. But certainly we're looking for questions. We're going to try to get to everybody's question, and whatever we can't get to, we'll post back in either via email or via blog post. Somehow we'll communicate to you and give you an answer. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand the controls over to Matt, and let me give him the controls. Matt, take it away. Are you there?
I am, Eric. Thanks so much for the kind introduction, and thanks to everyone for swinging by and spending an hour with us. Hard to believe that we are coming up on the holiday season, especially since it's 91 degrees today here in Austin, Texas. But like it or not, believe it or not, the holidays are right on us, and so it's time to start selling and start selling big. So brief introduction on me. As Eric mentioned, I'm the social media manager at Volusion. We do a lot of other different things, and my passion is teaching other people about the beauty of e-commerce and how to really knock it out of the park. So I get to work very closely with our e-commerce blog, which is known as the E-commerce Authority. And as Eric mentioned, also have a little YouTube series. We're at episode 114 this week, so we're excited about that. I like to cook, and by aspiring cook, I mean I've learned how to not burn things completely. So baby steps, getting there. Also proud to say that I am a certified nerd, have the certificate framed, and also a mini version in my pocket. So if you want to check out on that, just let me know. I'll send it your way. And you'll probably notice that I will say y'all about 3 times per sentence over the next hour. Well, I have to attribute that to my humble roots in small town West Texas. 1 stoplight, 1 Dairy Queen, and that was about it. More cows and churches than people, but it was a great place to grow up and definitely stemmed my passion for social media and connecting with others online, which has been very fortunate to continue that and to my profession. So it's been great. But enough about me. Let's talk about your business and what you're going to learn about today. Here's what we're going to cover. Now, first off, we're going to take a look at what happened last year. As you're probably well aware, last year was epic. I mean, absolutely epic for holiday e-commerce sales. And so we can take some of the learnings from there and then apply those to some big predictions that we have for the coming months. Now, once we kind of get our feet wet there, we're going to move into some tips. Now, we've got 101 tips for you. We will not be covering all 101 in the webinar because, well, that would just be overkill, but we will be sending you a link to our PDF that actually has all 101 tips in writing so that you can reference them, cut out your favorites, and leverage those that you think will be most helpful to you. But with the tips in mind, we'll get started with some site design tips and how to boost conversions with the aesthetic and the layout of your site. And of course, we'll also take a look at some navigation adjustments that you can make to make sure that your customers are getting where you want them to go a lot faster and more easily. Next, now, we wouldn't have a webinar with our friends at Stamps if we weren't talking about shipping and how to save money on shipping. So stick around because we'll talk about some quick shipping tips to get people through the door. And more importantly, we'll talk about how you can offer that almighty free shipping discount that everyone loves without losing your proverbial shirt. Now we'll take a good long look at holiday internet marketing in the next section. That'll take up the bulk of the presentation because that's where most of the questions come from. And then I will let you guys put me through the gauntlet with any questions that you have. I'll do my best to answer and make sure that you have the information you need to succeed. All right. So now that we know what we're covering, let's dive right on in. All right, so check out this chart, y'all. So last year, e-commerce sales just went nuts. I mean, we've seen growth throughout the past 5 years, and it's interesting to note that even in 2008, which is when the Great Recession and the financial collapse happened, we still saw growth in holiday e-commerce sales. That's pretty cool. Now, what's really interesting is you see the huge jump, almost a $5 billion jump with a B between 2010 and 2011. In other words, last year was absolutely the biggest year in holiday e-commerce history, with sales growing 15% year over year. That's pretty incredible. Now, what was really interesting, especially in our line of research and our line of study, was how Black Friday and Cyber Monday really came into account. Now, there used to be a lot of big experts, and well, including ourselves, that would predict what day would be the biggest day of the year for the holiday selling season. It would range anywhere from December 10th to December 17th to any other random day you could think of. But this past year, Cyber Monday really pulled out of the gate and is now known as the default or the busiest selling day of the year. Now, beforehand, Black Friday pulled in $816 million in one day. Now, that's an increase of 26% year over year. I mean, that's pretty mind-boggling. And then Cyber Monday went even further and hit $1.25 billion, again with the B, becoming the all-time biggest day of online sales in the history of the Internet. Now, that's pretty epic. Now, what I thought was interesting, too, was that not only were Black Friday and Cyber Monday bigger than expected, I mean, that was kind of expected since growth rates were trending towards that, but really caught people off guard and really took me away was that there were 10 days last year during the holiday season of $1 billion plus sales. This had never happened before. So what this is telling us is that people are now learning that Black Friday and Cyber Monday are always big deals, and they're looking for that to make sure that they can get the best deals, knowing that they'll be available, and more importantly, more and more people are turning online later in the year. But we'll get into that now as we take a look at some of the takeaways. So, of course, no matter where you go or who you're talking to, the economy is always a big deal, and there's always going to be skepticism. And in other words, people are looking for deals. Well, whenever it comes to online shopping, it's really easy to take a look at different price points and all sorts of different things for customers to find the best deal and the best bang for their buck. So with that in mind, comparison shopping is more prevalent than ever before. Now, this may come in the terms of comparison shopping engines like Nextag and Google Product Search, but it also takes place as far as looking at coupon sites to find the best coupon rate so that they can go to a different competitor site and purchase from them. So it's really important to make sure that you offer your best base and your best prices going forward because, again, it's really easy for people to just run away and go to a competitor site to save a buck. Now, along the exact same lines, coupons and discounts are absolutely critical to conversion. Over 75% of people from an eMarketer study mentioned that if they had a coupon, they would definitely use it, and if a competitor site didn't offer the coupon, they likely wouldn't make a purchase. Now, that's kind of scary, so it's going to be really important for you to make sure that you have coupons and discounts fully strategized and fully thought out moving into the holiday season, actually I recommend that you get started on that now. That way you can keep yourself competitive and continue to bring in sales. Now, again, talking about the importance of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Now, Black Friday and Cyber Monday tended to be, some things that tech nerds or power online shoppers knew about. That is no longer the case. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are now mainstream shopping holidays that people look for. Now, I don't know about you, but I cannot stand going to the mall the day after Thanksgiving and being trampled around and fighting for one TV, but whenever you're online, you don't have to worry about that. You can sip coffee and stand in your robe and PJs and shop from the convenience of your own home, and more people are taking advantage of that. And of course, going back to what we've been talking about, coupons, discounts are critical, and now that people expect them, retailers in turn are forced to give them on these major days. And finally, last-minute shopping has become much more widespread, and this is going to fit nicely into our shipping discussion because, of course, the closer it gets to the big day, the less time you have to ship products out the door. But more and more people are procrastinating and waiting to shop at the last minute, which, of course, lends to e-commerce because, again, they can shop any time of day, any time of night, and usually they can have the package on their doorstep in a couple of days or so. Okay, so we've learned from the past. Now let's take a look at what we can look forward to this year. Well, Santa's on his way if you play your cards right. eMarketer is predicting an even bigger increase than we had last year, so we're going to look at 16.8%. Now, the percentage might be a little bit lower, but you have to think about the sheer dollar amount that we're talking about here. I mean, billions and billions of dollars. It's going to be an even bigger year than record breakers of last year. Now, this one's really cool to statistics nerds kind of like myself. Holiday shopping, e-commerce shopping for this holiday season is set to account for almost a quarter of all sales in the entire retail shopping season. Now, for some context, the U.S. Census Bureau usually gives us quarterly reports and says that while e-commerce is eating a bigger piece of retail's pie, that tends to account for anywhere from 5 to 7% of all retail sales. Take a look at this holiday season, and we're looking at almost 25%. Now, the reason I keep harping on this is because it's just to reinforce to you how important your online selling strategy is going to be in the coming months, and even starting now, because it's going to be huge. Now with that in mind, we're going to look at consumer behavior. So budget-conscious decisions. Again, that's going to go back to the comparison shopping. So you'll want to really make sure, and we'll touch on this here in a bit, that you really cater your e-commerce site to budget-conscious comparison shoppers. Big red bolded statement, continued reliance on discounts. Now again, people are coming online because they're looking to save money and they're also looking for convenience. So we're really going to have to make sure that we are on par with our competitors when it comes to discounts and really be creative and thoughtful so that, one, we can again keep those customers and increase the average order value, but at the same time protect our margins and make sure that we're not really giving away the farm. Now, another big one is going to be the utilization of mobile for not only research, but for purchase. Now, in my opinion, mobile has not quite hit its stride when it comes to actual checkout and actual purchases from mobile devices. Now, from your iPad, yes, that's a different story. Tablet, now whenever it's coming to your smartphones, your iPhones, your Androids, and whatnot, that's still leaning more towards research, but in the coming years, we'll see purchase. That tangent aside, really keep in mind that you'll want to make sure that your site is optimized for mobile and it's also optimized for tablet devices because there will be more and more people and more shoppers accessing your website, your online business directly from their smartphones and their tablet devices. So you want to make sure it's a positive and good-looking experience. And last but definitely not least, there's going to be an increased and a continuous increased dependence on customer reviews. So if you have those on your e-commerce site, make sure that you enable those. I highly recommend that you start a campaign, if you haven't already, to start soliciting some reviews from your customers, because at the end of the day, we all really want to make sure that not only are we saving a buck, but we're really getting a high-quality product that's really going to make whoever we're giving the gift to happy and fulfill their needs. Now, what better place to look at for unbiased customer reviews? So that can really make or break your shopping experience whenever it comes down to you versus another competitor. So keep an eye out for that consumer behavior on all 4 points, but really keep in mind those reviews are going to be continuing to trend, not only the holidays, but throughout 2013 as well. Okay, let's take a step out of my cloudy crystal ball and take a look into some hard-line tips that you can actually use to make your site not only look good, look festive, but convert and make it easy to navigate for your customers. All right, so one of the biggest tips that you can do, or one of the biggest tidbits that I can give you, is to create a sense of urgency on your website. Now, I really recommend doing so on really critical landing pages. 9 times out of 10, this is going to be on your home page because, well, naturally, that's where most people tend to enter your website. But if you have key landing pages that you're using for, paid search campaigns and things of that sort, you might want to put a countdown on there that says X amount of days until the big holiday, or X amount of days until you can order your products and get it shipped to you on time for this rate. Again, if you just remind people, especially those increased amounts of last-minute shoppers, then you're really going to kind of put a fire under their butts to go ahead and make that purchase, and that's always a good thing. Now, this is a huge tip, and this is probably my biggest and best tip for you whenever it comes to holiday design. Utilize your home page. All right, so you have to think that most of the people that are coming to your website, especially whenever it's getting closer and closer to the holiday season, are actually looking to make holiday-related purchases. So make it an exciting process for them based on your homepage design. Now, the biggest thing you can do is to update your main image or your slideshow if you're using an interactive slideshow to be really holiday themed. You'll definitely want to give your shoppers and your customers a very specific place to go. Now, this isn't the nicest thing I've ever said, but it's true, and I'd like for you to embellish me a little bit. You have to think of your customers and your online shoppers, especially new ones, as sheep. You, as the online business owner and the webmaster, you are the shepherd. So you need to really corral these sheep and get them into the right pen so that they're where they need to be. Now, bad analogy aside, what this means is you'll want to have featured products, special deals, new items, give people very strong, specific calls to action, or CTAs, so that they know exactly where to go the second they get to your site. Because if they get to your site, they don't know where to go, you're going to lose them. So utilize your home page to not only be festive, but to be specific in telling them exactly where you want to go. You are the shepherd, you are the leader, make sure it happens. Now, tip number 11, this is more of a housekeeping tip, but it's also a good one and is a slight pet peeve of mine. You'll want to schedule your design takedown. Now, right now you're probably thinking about, all right, how am I going to get my homepage looking good? What am I going to do to my logo? Is there any adjustments I need to make my social media design to make it look festive? Those are all great, and that's a good mentality. But don't forget to schedule that design takedown. You don't want to be that neighbor across the hall that still has their Christmas lights up in February, because if someone comes to your site looking for a Valentine's Day purchase or just a returning customer and they still see your Santa hat on your logo, it doesn't really make for the best experience. Another little bonus tip, if you have any images that you know you want to use next year, or you've made any coding or CSS or HTML changes, go ahead and save those into Notepad or whatever document structure that you want to use, just so you have it ready for next year. Save you some time, don't have to reinvent the wheel. All right, so here are some different site changes that are a little less on the design side, a little more on the navigation and usability side. Now, number 26, help shoppers be Santa. Remember, people are coming here usually to get gifts either for themselves or for a loved one, whichever. We don't care as long as they're paying us, right? So what you can do, if you want to, you can highlight really good stocking stuffers. So if you have smaller items or less expensive items, what you can do, go ahead and compile them into a category. Put that into your right nav, your top nav, or whatever, your left nav, wherever you have your category space, and give it some prominent placement so that people that are looking in for a quick gift can just click on that category, browse through a smaller selection, and then just go ahead and purchase from you. Again, this is all really hammering that idea of giving your customers a specific place to go to meet their needs. Now, another cool idea is to say more than thanks. Now, of course, whenever you have your checkout, 9 times out of 10, most shopping cart providers allow you to have a thank you page, or if you've done a custom one, then you should have one yourself. The whole point is you'll want to provide a little greeting and, more importantly, any upselling opportunities on your thank you page. So, for example, if there are any related products that might be a great accessory that they might have missed out on, don't be afraid to put that on the thank you page. But more from a branding side, you can have a quick holiday message, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for shopping with us. It's just a really nice emotional touch, and that definitely increases customer loyalty and just pulls some heartstrings when it comes to your customers, and that's always a good thing during the holiday selling season. Now, this one's really big too. Number 32 is to avoid roadblocks at checkout. Now, you'll likely see an increase in the amount of shoppers coming to your website and making purchases, and that's fantastic. Now, a lot of us tend to be tempted to really use that opportunity to solicit more contact information for email campaigns, drip campaigns, social media outreach, and things of that sort. Now, that's fine and dandy, but don't overdo it. Now, personally, I don't think it's a good idea to force customers to register at checkout. Now, every business is different. If you have specific needs that leads to customer registration, feel free to do so. But if you don't really need for your customers to register, don't make them. Why? Because it just adds extra steps into the process. To enter in their email address again, to enter in a password, and all that good stuff. You're just giving your customers more time to think and have early buyer's remorse, for lack of better words. And so if you really kind of skimp away from adding extra fields or forcing customers to register, you have a better chance of converting, and then you'll be able to really wow them with your service and your product, and they'll naturally come back. So keep the checkout process as simple as possible by all means. Okay, here are a few more little site changes that will help boost confidence and usability and checkouts, hopefully. Now, again, this is kind of the same idea as the stocking stuffers, but you'll want to highlight affordable options. Now, keep in mind, one of the consumer behaviors that we're expecting, both for this year and fall last year, is comparison shopping and bargain hunting. Well, guess what? You can easily appeal to this type of shopper by creating a unique and specific category that's dedicated to clearance items. You don't have to use the word clearance if you don't want to. There's always a lot of different words you can find in the thesaurus to really kind of hit home that idea of clearance, but really giving people a specific place to go to look for low-cost items that they can purchase in a hurry, always a good thing. Again, keep in mind your customer mindset. It changes a little bit, and you'll have new customers. So appeal to those buying behaviors by thinking about your site structure and your navigation, and you'll be a lot more likely to convert more of those different buying types. Now, one thing that a lot of people, regardless of buying type, have in common is that slight fear of the unknown and putting their information into the vast world of the cyber internet. All right, now what you can do is reassure shopper safety, say that 3 times fast, by showing off any type of confidence-building marks that you have. So, for example, if you're accepting payment directly on your website, you have to have an SSL certificate. So guess what? Go ahead and put the logo from your SSL provider on your website. You can put it in your template. You can put it in your footer. You can put it on your checkout page. Doing so reminds customers, okay, this is a legit business, and they're actually protecting my information because they've taken the measures to be secure. Now, another good thing, too, is take a look at your live chat options. Take a look at your customer service options. Do you have a customer service phone number or hotline? Do you have a contact address? Putting these things, whether it's in your template or on an About Us page or really anything, just letting people know that there is another human on the other side of their monitor is a really big confidence booster that might help push them over the edge and go ahead and make that purchase. Now, we've been talking about a lot of different site changes that you can or should or might think about making. But before you go overboard or before you finally implement everything and share this with the masses, I highly recommend that you get a second and or third opinion by user testing. Now, again, if you're going to be creating new categories, you're going to be doing new design layouts, it's really important for you to make sure that other people understand what you're trying to do. So pull in some friends, pull in some strangers that have never worked with your site before from different demographics, have them take a look and see, does this make sense? Give them a specific task to perform. If you're selling shoes, find the latest pair of Jordans on this website. See how they're able to find it. If you see that they're stumbling, you might want to rethink some of your site structure, maybe tweak it a little bit, just again to make sure that everything is as navigable and as easy to find as possible. It's really easy for us to find in that mentality of, oh, well, I know my business and my customers and my products better than everyone else, which is usually true, but at the end of the day, we're not purchasing from ourselves, so we want to make sure that through user testing and getting these extra opinions that we really are doing ourselves a service by all of the hard work and effort that you're putting in to improving your site structure and design. All right, now let's get into some nuts and bolts here. Free shipping and holiday shipping always tends to be one of the most popular questions, especially in the holiday season, because, well, it eats a lot of your paycheck, right? It costs a lot. It takes a lot of effort, depending on how you're doing it, and so it's really important to both save us time and money. So hopefully some of these shipping tips will help out. Now, the importance of shipping, well, we all know why shipping is important. Not only is it how we get the products exactly to our customer's doorstep, but it's one of the biggest reasons for abandoned carts. Now, high shipping charges are kind of inevitable sometimes, depending on your business and your business model, the type of product you're selling, and where your customer base is located. But there is something that we can do. And before we dive too much into the tips, I'm going to go onto a little soapbox real quick, so please bear with me. But there's something that I like to call shipping sticker shock. Now, what that is basically, you put yourself in the shoes of your shopper. We're going to go look for these Air Jordans. They run for $120, but you have them on discount for only $100. Well, guess what? They think they're saving 20 bucks. They think they're only spending $100 on this item, and then they enter in their shipping information. Oh, and guess what? That $20 shipping charge is added right back on. So that's almost a slap in the face to unexpected consumers, because there's still this disconnect with online shoppers and online retailers. Online shoppers don't expect to pay shipping. Online retailers know that it is a part of life. So at the end of the day, make sure that you avoid shipping sticker shock by ensuring that customers can see shipping charges before they proceed to the checkout page, because it's just going to lessen the blow to them if they're not expecting that charge. So, soapbox I will hop off of. Now let's get into the fun part, depending on how nerdy you are, on free shipping. Now, how do you make sure you can offer free shipping? And as it mentions, free shipping will help you increase sales. As a matter of fact, free shipping is the absolute favorite coupon and discount that online shoppers are looking for during and beyond the holiday season. But as we've mentioned, these shipping costs are eating directly into your margin and coming out of your pocket. So what do we do to make sure that before you even offer it, that you actually can? Well, first off, you need to know how much free shipping costs. So what this means is, you're going to have to do a little bit of math and figure out, all right, how much across the board does shipping cost? How am I able to afford it? Am I able to offer free shipping across all of my products, only on certain categories, or at a certain threshold? Now, I made a C in accounting, so I will not give you actual advice on how to do this, but it is important for you as a business owner to go through, do calculations, do the math, and make sure that before you even offer free shipping on your site, that it's not going to kill you 2 months down the road, because that's the last thing that we ever want. Number 2, know when you can afford it. Now, this goes back into me harping on doing this math, okay? Now, one thing that you might consider is a certain threshold, and this has really become popular among a lot of online retailers, and I think it's a good happy medium between customer expectations and retailer actualities. Now, by threshold, I mean, for example, get free shipping when you purchase $50 or more. Get free shipping when you purchase 4 items or more. Now, doing this, 1, sets expectations that, yes, free shipping is available, and 2, it's also fun because you get to dangle that free shipping offering over your customer's head and let them paw at it. And what that really means is that you're increasing your average order value, which is always a good thing, while at the same time protecting your margins. Now, again, this depends on your business model, on your products, on your operational costs, on your overhead costs, and all those things. So number 2, know when you can afford it. Number 3, this is big, okay? Once you've done the math and you've decided that 1, you're going to offer free shipping, and 2, you're actually going to put it in a specific mechanism, make it work for you and sell it. Again, free shipping is a big deal. It's the most popular coupon and discount available out there, so promote the heck out of it, okay? So put it on your email campaigns, put it on your homepage, put it in your template, put it in your social media campaigns, put it in your pay-per-click campaigns. People will fight at free shipping if you feed it to them, so make sure that you're actively promoting your free shipping campaigns if and when you decide to offer them. And last but not least, Stamps is a great provider for this. Always look for the best postal rate possible. So are you using live rates? Are you using flat rate shipping? Are you using the You Fit It Ships model? Really go through, get the best postal rate that you can. One good piece of advice that I've actually learned from a customer of ours was last year they were offering U.S. Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, and DHL. They crunched the numbers, realized that DHL was hardly ever used and was the most expensive, and that FedEx was also expensive for them. So what did they do? They chopped down the options to UPS and USPS for the holidays, saved them a ton of money, and helped streamline their shipping operations as a whole. So again, it's whatever mix works best for you, but getting the best postal rate possible, regardless of provider, is always an important thing, so make sure you go for it. Okay, now here are some other random shipping tips to help Santa deliver the package on time. Now, this is really important from a customer service expectation standpoint, and that is displaying customer deadlines. You need to let them know the last day that they can actually order to receive their package on time. So if the last day that you can get the package to them is on the 24th, well, they need to order that by the 21st or the 22nd most likely. So if you let them order all the way up to the 24th, well, guess what? They're going to blame your business for being Scrooge Christmas morning, and that's not going to be a good customer experience. So always make sure that you display customer deadlines for the final day to purchase to receive their product on time. Now, if you have a brick and mortar store, this one is easy peasy and should always be done. Provide in-store pickup. How easy is that? They order online, they come pick it up. You don't have any shipping costs, they don't have to pay as much. Two birds, one stone, always a good thing. And this one's really interesting too, taking a page out of Zappos playbook, offering free return shipping. Now this is just a nice extra emotional connection with your brand and something that really instills confidence in your customers to help them proceed to checkout. So a lot of times, especially with ordering like clothing or jewelry, we're not sure if it's going to look the same or fit right whenever we see it online. If you offer free return shipping, well, that's a good thing because, well, people aren't as afraid to actually purchase because it's easier for them to make a return. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's presentation, and that's going to be a good long look at holiday e-marketing. So we'll take a look at pay-per-click, briefly at SEO, social media, and all that good stuff. All right, search engine optimization. Now, I highly recommend taking a look at the 101 tips PDF that we'll be sending out in the email afterwards because there are a lot more good tips about SEO, and that's another really popular topic, especially at this stage in the holiday game. Things are already moving pretty quickly in the world of SEO, and so it's important for you to have your strategy put in place for the holidays, and you should be starting on that now. So here are a couple of quick tips I advise for anyone to do. The first one being, feed Google and other search engines something new. So whenever you go through and you make these changes that we're talking about, whether it's product descriptions or navigation changes or new categories or new designs or new adjustments to your tags, your title tags, your meta tags, you'll want to make sure that you feed Google and other search engines your sitemap so that they can pick that up more quickly. Now, sometimes a lot of sites will be crawled by search engine spiders more quickly than others, but for just to be extra certain, feel free to go ahead and submit that sitemap. Not going to hurt anything. Now, tip number 80 in the PDF, this one's pretty big for SEO. Your holiday meta tags are your friends, okay? So we actually had a 2-Minute Tuesday on this last week, so I invite you to go watch that for more in-depth on this. But some of the biggest takeaways from those 5 was, 1, take a look at your meta description. Now remember, your meta description whenever it comes to SEO is not that important, if at all, to Google and other search engines, but it is free text and advertising to your customer base. So you'll want to make sure that your meta descriptions are holiday friendly, incorporate holiday keywords, and really bait people to go ahead and click on your site when they find you in organic search. Now another big thing you'll want to do is take a look at your title tags, especially for your product pages. Now your title tags should never, ever, ever be duplicates, okay? So you'll want to go through, do a full audit on all of your title tags across your site. Make sure that your title tags are unique, are different, and include keywords that people will be searching for when they're looking for these products or your website in Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. Again, take a look at that video. It's really a good resource as far as what you should do now for holiday SEO, and because we could really probably have like an hour-long presentation on this, to be quite honest. All right, let's dive into pay-per-click. Now, a lot of people aren't leveraging pay-per-click whenever in their traditional marketing structure. I highly recommend doing so. Pay-per-click is a huge business driver for almost anyone. If you're not performing well in search rankings organically, Pay-per-click really helps level the playing field between you and your competitors, especially some of the smaller ones, and also helps give you some clout with even some of your bigger competitors. So really what pay-per-click allows you to do is to appear directly in the sponsored link section of major search results. Again, validates your business, gives you more exposure, and hopefully will drive traffic. So you can see the example of this over on the right-hand side, but here are a few minor tips for holiday pay-per-click. Now, the first thing you want to do is add some cheer to your keywords. Now, remember, people are going to be searching a lot more heavily with holiday-related keywords, so you'll either want to adjust your campaigns or launch new campaigns that are holiday-specific and include the keywords. But you have to watch your bids, folks, okay? This is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of small online business owners make when dabbling in pay-per-click. It's going to be really tempting for you to bid on really generic holiday keywords, okay? But guess what? You're going to be competing with Sears and Macy's and JCPenney and Best Buy and Amazon and all of the big dogs out there. You have to watch your bids because if you don't monitor them, you can end up spending your shirt and not get anything out of it. So you'll want to focus more on long-tail keywords and things of that sort. Just remember, it's your money, so keep close tabs on it. Now, you'll also want to scale back on the content network. Okay, so the content network is basically, oh, well, here's some interesting things that I think that my readers might be looking at, and so if there's some content space, then just pop my ad in there. Now, the content network can be effective for new brand awareness and customer acquisition. However, you have to remember that during the holiday season, more and more shoppers are making specific product searches and not just browsing news sites and blogs and random things like that. So you can save yourself some money by scaling back on the content network and putting those savings back into more specific holiday-related paid search campaigns. And as I always say, you need to make sure that if you're going to be spending money on pay-per-click or any type of marketing, that your landing pages and your website look good and are consistent with the messaging that you're giving. So for example, if you're offering free shipping in your ad text and your pay-per-click ads, you want to make sure that you reinforce that offering on the landing page just so people have that sense of consistency and the bounce rate will go down. So always make sure your landing pages are looking good and they're getting that consistent message that we're all looking for as marketers and business owners. Okay, more on pay-per-click because yes, it's that important. Be aggressive. All right, so here's a really fun one. If you have some competitors that you know are always maybe fishing out of that same customer pond, step up your branded bids. Now what this means, let's say that you are selling shoes. Well, guess what? Foot Locker might be one of your competitors. So what you can do is create branded campaigns that target keywords that include Foot Locker. Then your ad will show up, and if you have a nice shiny deal offered in that pay-per-click text, you might be able to steal some sales away from them. Now on the same lines, you also want to avoid wasted cash on wasted clicks. Now you need to add to your negative keyword list for the holidays. So be more specific. Go through those negative keywords, and if you're not using them yet, make sure that you are. Now if you're kind of new to pay-per-click, a negative keyword essentially is, if this customer or this searcher types in this specific phrase, I don't want my ad to show up for that because I know it's not going to convert. So I want to use that as a negative keyword to remove my ad from that specific search query. And number 74, don't be a Scrooge, okay? There's going to be a lot more online shoppers this year. There's going to be a lot more volume in search. So don't be afraid to spend a little more money by raising your daily minimum. The last thing you want to do is fire off your campaigns at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then by noon you're completely out of money and you're not showing up anymore. So don't be afraid to step up that daily bid, of course, in line with your budget and what you can do. All right, comparison shopping engines. We have an entire presentation on this too, but as comparison shopping becomes more and more important, you need to have your presence on there if possible. So just number 92, just get started with them. Okay, these can take a little bit of time to get used to. There are some feeds that you have to do either manually or through your shopping cart software to feed over into like Google product search, next tag, things of that sort. I believe that next tag is now only the free one because Google product search is now a paid engine. But keep in mind that you'll want to figure out how this is going to work. Spend some time researching how these engines work from a consumer standpoint, and get things in early because it can take anywhere from 1 day to almost a month to get your products fully listed. You'll want to make sure that you're optimizing those as well. Okay, so here are some of the most effective CSEs. I got a little happy with my graph, and so it's covering up which year the quarter is coming from. This actually came from Q3 of this year, and so this is very recent. So Google Product Search, Next Tag are the biggest ones. There's also been a lot of success with Amazon product ads and Shopzilla as well. So again, kind of find what's best for you. There's some niche comparison shopping engines out there for like wine and golf and all sorts of things. So do your research and just get started on those and really just start dabbling. That way you can overcome that learning curve and hit your stride as we get closer to the holidays. All right, now we've been talking about coupons and discounts throughout the presentation, so let's actually talk about them a little more detailed. All right, so you'll want to blow out your coupons on the big days. Now remember, we talked about the importance over and over and over again about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, especially last year and moving into this year. So you want to make sure that you have coupons and discounts that are absolutely specific to these 2 days. Now you've probably seen all of the emails that have been coming through over the past couple years. Black Friday blowout, Cyber Monday blowout. Your competitors are doing it, so you need to do the same thing, again, to keep yourself top of mind during the holiday rush so that customers are coming back to your site over and over. Now, if you have an affiliate network, which is always a good idea if you can, you'll want to provide your affiliates with new banners. Make sure that they're holiday themed. Make sure that they include the promotions that you'll be running, whether it's specific to Black Friday or more of a long-term campaign. Again, this is a good way to amplify your voice and turn your sales machine into a sales army by leveraging others in your affiliate network. Now, this is another housekeeping item because as the hustle and bustle of the holidays come through, you got a lot to do. So for housekeeping, make a big old promotions calendar. Know exactly what coupon is going out on what day, how long it's lasting, what the offer is for, what your threshold is as far as your inventory. That way you know you can reference it whenever you're looking at your margins, whenever you're on the phone with the customer, or if you're looking at really anything in relation to the cadence of your coupons. So if you're going to blast out an email that offers one coupon and the next day you blast out another email with another coupon, you're going to have some disconnect there. So the main idea here, be consistent and be strategic in the timing of your coupons by having a calendar that you can easily reference at your fingertips. All right, now we'll turn into social media, which is my favorite. One of the most basic ones is to promote your promotions. You're doing all this work to put together this coupon strategy. Don't forget to list them on your social channels. Facebook now has a new offers feature that you can use, which is pretty cool. I highly recommend that, especially if you're a B2C type online merchant. That's a great way to do it. I also highly recommend that you can create highlighted posts on Facebook. So create a nice looking image, and you can make that a highlighted post to get more eyeballs on them. Feel free to feed them through Twitter. If you haven't started on Facebook advertising or promoted tweets, that's a great way to pay for social promotion of your discounts. Another fun idea that I've seen before is to ask customers questions. So using Facebook polls or even Twitter or really any other social media outlet that you have, you can ask your customers if you could get anything for Christmas or the holidays out of my online store, what would it be? Then what you do is they say, oh, I love that pair of Jordans. Hey, guess what? Since you're such a loyal fan, here's a 15% off discount for that specific item that you asked for. You're creating a loyal customer, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a sale, and you're just really fostering that community and making sure that people are coming back for more. Oh, that was an awesome idea. Excuse me. You also want to turn to your blog for SEO help. Now, it's kind of used more back into SEO, but blogging is a huge piece of social media, so you can really leverage long-tail keywords by focusing on your blogs. You can link back and forth from your blog post to your website and really focus on more specific traffic that your competitors might not be focused on as much. So use your blog at all times. It's one of your best friends and one of the best tools in your social arsenal. Okay, so I know we flew through that section, but I wanted to make sure that we had time for questions and answers. And so I will definitely turn the floor back over to Eric to help us out. And I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all have to say.
Awesome stuff, Matt. I really enjoyed the couple of those points there you mentioned. The stocking stuffer tip is an excellent idea as a buyer. I've always it's one of the first things I look for on a site, so I love that suggestion. As well as return shipping. There's been tons of great data on how a lenient return shipping policy helps improve sales. So that was great job and great stuff. Thanks so much.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, let's get down to some questions here. Again, if you have any questions, please use the question box right now, and we'll try to get them all answered. I'm going to start right now, and it looks like we've got lots of questions coming in. The first one's from Bonnie, and she's asking, what other tips do you have about boosting sales through social media channels?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. I like that one. So really, it's all going to come down to one, being strategic. So you have to really keep in mind who is following you on your social networks. A lot of the times, it's going to boil down to two buckets. One, they're going to be your biggest brand advocates who love everything that you do and would buy your products even more than you're already charging for them. Now, the other bucket is going to be those who are really following you on social media specifically for coupons and discounts. Two very different buckets, but two very important ones. So what I recommend doing is keeping that in mind and offering social-specific coupons. All right, so exclusive offer because we love you so much. Get 25% off this. Now, another really cool idea that I've seen before, and it totally worked on me as a marketer, I was like, man, I can't expect all for this, but it was great. Essentially, it was a social media flash sale. So what they did is one day at noon, each day for a week, they would run a 30-minute to an hour-long flash sale through their social channels, again, socially exclusive. And what they would do is they'd offer, let's just say 15% off this pair of Jordans that I've been referencing the entire presentation. And for 1 hour only, you could get it. And they even upped the ante a little bit as it caught on in popularity and did it on a limited amount. So 15% off the first 10 pair of Jordans. If it finished out before the hour was over, well, that's just too bad for everybody. But it made people, especially the social followers, pay a lot more close attention to their news feeds and really hone in on the social marketing messages. So that was a really cool tip that I saw too.
Very cool. I've got a great question here from Cy, and he's asking, do you recommend new categories for holidays or changing your SEO tags on your regular products? I think you kind of touched base on that in the presentation, but I like the category aspect of this question.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the categories are definitely a good idea because what's happening with the category structure is whenever you're creating new categories, you kind of have a fresh start when it comes to SEO. So that allows you even more freedom to really go after those holiday keywords and be super specific to what you're looking for. So if you've got stocking stuffers or affordable gifts or last-minute buys, you can incorporate those keywords into your title tags, your meta tags, your descriptions, all that good stuff, and really, really focus on the copy and the content that you're placing within that specific category page and any subcategory pages as well. So I really like the idea of creating the new categories, not only from a usability and navigation standpoint, but also kind of as a fun experiment / cool way to get more organic traffic based on the fresh start that you have with SEO. Now, of course, whenever you're looking at your overall site SEO, it's important to keep a balance between completely reinventing the wheel and losing the gains that you've made throughout the year and making a few tweaks here and there to help convert holiday shoppers. That's why I think that the meta description is a really great one because, as I mentioned, Google and other search engines have pretty much told us they don't even look at that anymore. So even though you're not completely adjusting everything with SEO, you can still help your organic results to really bait people in with those holiday keywords from seeing your results in the search engine pages.
Very cool. I'm seeing a lot of questions here about people asking about a copy of the webinar in this PDF to the slide. So we'll definitely make sure we get all of that information to you. There is going to be you're going to receive an email. Everybody who attended the event will receive an email. It will have a link to the actual recording of the video. So everybody's asking that. Definitely you will get a recording. I've got a great question here from Susie. And she's asking, what's the best way to get your coupon codes out to the public? She says when she uses coupon codes as a consumer, she usually just does a Google search and finds the codes on different websites. But as a retailer, she's unsure of how to get codes onto those different websites.
Yeah, that's like $1 million coupon question. So the first decision that you'll want to make, and for everyone else out there too, is do I want to proactively submit my coupons to coupon sites, there is a lot of sensitivity, especially for higher margin items, about sharing coupons that willingly with other people. Just going back to what we talked about protecting your margins, and there's always that other argument of training people to only look for discounts and only purchasing for discounts, which is something that we don't want to do. But what I highly recommend is, one, take a look at the coupon sites that are most popular. Do you see that there are smaller businesses on there, or are they all like the big dogs like Amazon and Home Depot and Best Buy? Well, you're probably not going to have too much luck if that's the case and there's not many small businesses on that specific site. So don't waste your time, don't waste your breath. Another really cool idea that you might want to take a look at is blogger outreach, okay? So we ran this really fun contest here at Volusion back around Mother's Day, and people on our PR team in-house, they looked out to various mommy bloggers, and they're a very vibrant community. So what you can do there is make connections on social media. So like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, interact with them, comment on their blogs, and make connections with them. And then what you can do is a lot of times you can either for free or you might pay them a small fee, and they'll actually put their coupons on their blogs for you. Now, the nice thing about this is they're not as readily accessible through simple Google searches when people are just looking for a coupon. Now, again, that's the whole idea of you don't want to sell your customers or your business short, rather, and really just get those coupons all over the place. So that's a really fun idea, too. But if you really do want to use the coupon sites, which has definitely worked for a lot of people, I just really recommend being diligent, finding those that are really applicable to your target market, and making sure that there is a process that allows you to make sure that your coupon is showing up correctly and prominently.
Very good. I've got a great question here from Ed. He's asking, how often should you send email newsletters during the holiday season without annoying customers?
I laugh because that's a really, really excellent question, and I've had that question asked several times, and I've asked that of myself too. It really, really depends, okay? And I know that's not the best answer, but unfortunately it is the truth. So for some context, email marketing really, really picks up, especially for B2C brands during the holiday season. So don't be afraid to step up the amount of emails that you're sending through the holidays. There are studies that showed that some of the bigger brands, like for example Express and Banana Republic, just to pull something out of the hat, we're sending upwards of 12 to 15 emails a month. But you also have to keep in mind too, those are bigger brands, and that's something that people are looking forward to. So if you have a really active base and your open rates and your click-through rates are really high throughout the year, you can probably afford to send a decent amount of emails and really ramp that up during the holiday season. But you also want to monitor those to see, all right, well, I sent email number 6 this month, and my unsubscribe rate really went up, and my open rate really went down. That's an indication that you've probably gone a little too far, and you might be spamming people. So again, it depends really on the metrics that you've been experiencing thus far, how receptive your customers are to the information, and of course those metrics that you should always be monitoring whenever it comes down to your email marketing efforts. And then of course too, you'll want to just make sure you have something to say. I think that's probably the biggest thing that you'll want to keep in mind is, it's always okay to send something, whether it's on social media or email, if it's of either educational, entertainment, or of some sort of value to the recipient. So I wish I could give you a hard number on that one, but just keep an eye out for those few things, and then hopefully you'll be able to hit your sweet spot as far as your email frequency.
Yeah, definitely. That sweet spot is a hard thing to do, and certainly in terms of finding that, overall increase in revenue versus when am I going to, my unsubs start, increasing. So that's a tough one, but a good one. Here's a question from Jonathan. He's asking about return shipping and what's the best way to coordinate the return shipping charge. He says send them a prepaid shipping label, or send them or credit their account. I'm assuming Jonathan's probably asking, should I credit their account with the return shipping charge so they can then do it? I know just one point from Stamps.com, Jonathan, you are able to send a return shipping label via email. So you go in there in the Stamps.com interface and say return shipping label, it flip-flops the address. And the cool thing about that is it allows you to control the mail class sent back. So that way someone doesn't have the opportunity to upgrade to, like, say, a priority mail or express mail. You can control it and how you want to send it. But in terms of dealing with the costs and what do you most Volusion customers do in terms of return shipping?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. It's really all over the board, and again, it just kind of boils down to what works best for your business. I have seen it done. It's where, as you mentioned, Eric, it's sent through email, and that's an awesome way. I think that that's usually one of the best ways to go about it, just because it's convenient for you. So you have to keep in mind two things. One, what is convenient for you? You know, returns and RMAs, you know, it's kind of like that New Year's hangover that you get, and you're like, oh man, I've got all these returns to process. So you definitely want to consider customer convenience. And if it's more convenient for you to credit back the customer or to provide the shipping so that they send it back, however you want to go about it, that's usually good too. You also have to think about, too, how much do you really want them to return the product? So there might be something for being said of making it a little more, a little less than easy as possible, if you're getting my drift, just because, you know, that is, again, something that you'll have to focus on and deal with on your own. You know, I wish I had a better answer for you as far as specifics. I have seen an increase, as Eric mentioned, about the email section, but, you know, it really just depends. Most of the customers I've worked with have done the credit option, but it's not to say that that's the best way. One idea I have seen from one of my favorite customers is they actually sent a poll out, and they said for the people that actually processed returns earlier in the year, they just sent them an email and said, hey, just curious, would you have preferred that we did it this way or this way? And they just got a decent sample size, and then they took the findings from their own customers and implemented that. So I thought that was a really good way to really find out what was best for their business.
Yeah, no doubt. Gives you good, interesting information directly from the customer's mouth, too. So I've got a question, a Volusion-based question here from Billy, and he's asking about mobile device functionality with Volusion, and he wants to streamline the checkout function and any other mobile features. So are there capabilities of improving the mobile checkout function? I guess probably on any device, but certainly on, I guess, primarily the mobile device.
Sure. Yeah, so all Volusion customers get a mobile optimized version of their store fully built into the platform, no additional charge. And essentially what that does is it really streamlines the navigation process for anyone that's coming to a Volusion store. Hopefully any store has mobile capabilities at this point. So they can find product easier. They're not, you know, thumbing around all over the place. And it makes it for a more streamlined option. So as far as checkout's concerned, you pretty much got the standard checkout process that you'd have on your own e-commerce site. And so you're still fully able to leverage that. We're actively working to improve that all the time because mobile is becoming a huge deal. So the checkout capability is definitely there. We, along with everybody else, are finding best practices and ways to improve that as we speak. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of any type of mobile optimized feature that you either have with us or with whatever provider that you currently have, and fully leveraging that to the fullest, just to make sure that you are really appealing to those customers and that consumer behavior we talked about earlier in the presentation about really appealing to mobile research and to mobile checkout.
Definitely. We've got a great question here from Nathan regarding when should holiday campaigns end. He's saying, for example, or some people buy holiday gifts up until New Year's. And so do you suggest that they have like a separate kind of after Christmas sale, or can they continue to run their typical holiday promotion through, say, New Year's?
Yeah. Again, everything I say fully depends on whatever business you're running and your customers and your model. So, but yeah, I think that's an excellent idea, and I've seen that done very effectively. Remember, the holiday season doesn't end on December 26th. You know, there's New Year's, and there's always that holiday hangover where people are like, oh, okay, cool. And I've even seen some people, my family included, where we've waited a little bit and done Christmas a couple days later so that you can save a few bucks on, inventory that's being cleared. So yeah, I think that you can totally run a post-holiday or quote post-holiday campaign. If you're looking to get rid of some extra inventory that you don't want to hold on to, post-holidays is an excellent way to do that. If you have a really popular product that you'd like to test a little bit further, feel free to run that as well. So yeah, long story short, I think it's always a good idea to keep the ball rolling while, or strike the iron while it's hot, whatever cliche you want to use. But no, I've definitely seen an increase across all industries whenever it comes to post-holiday sales, and I think that you'd be totally fine moving into the new year. But again, like I said, it's fully dependent on your customer base and what works for you.
Good deal. All right, well, it looks like we're out of time. Matt, I want to thank you so much for giving an excellent presentation. And just to remind everybody, we're going to have an automated email that's sent out to everybody that signed up and attended the presentation. It's going to include a link to the actual recording, but then it's also going to contain a link to the PDF that Volusion's put together for the 101 ways to boost holiday sales. It's a great PDF. I highly suggest everybody download it. It's just got tons of great advice and obviously contains pretty much everything that Matt had talked about today, and then a few more tips as well. So we'll be sending that email out here in the next 24 hours. We're also going to have some posts on our blog that will kind of highlight some of these top questions. And again, we want to thank Matt Wynn from Volusion for taking the time today to give us this great presentation. It's awesome stuff. Thanks everybody for joining us, and hopefully everybody has a great Q4 holiday sales period. Matt, again, thank you very much, and we'll look forward to talking with everybody soon. Thanks again.